From the second I stepped into my father's prized restaurant, Morrison's Italian Kitchen, a strange weight settled in my chest. It was supposed to be a happy day. Lily's 10th birthday. A day filled with cake and laughter. But all I felt was a quiet warning humming inside me. Still, I had said yes when he offered to host her party. He'd insisted on the phone, preaching about family sticking together, promising he'd handle everything. After years of distance, criticism, cold silences, and forced small talk, I wanted to believe maybe, just maybe, this time would be different. But some part of me already knew better. The private dining room looked beautiful. Balloons everywhere, colorful streamers hanging in soft arcs, tables perfectly set as if for a photo shoot. Good food, warm lighting. Everything my father excelled at. His new wife, Denise, stood at the center like she owned the place, her 2 kids, both Lily's age, dressed in designer outfits and ready to soak in all the attention. Aunts, uncles, cousins, about 20 people total, filled the room. Glasses clinking, chatter floating through the air. And of course the food was flawless. Whatever else he was, my father knew how to run a kitchen. Morrison's Italian Kitchen wasn't the small hometown place it used to be. It now had 5 locations across 2 states and pulled in nearly $8 million a year, at least on paper. Under the new ownership, things had changed drastically. Though most people in this room still had no idea. When it was time for gifts after the cake, Denise's children went first. And it felt less like birthday presents and more like a Broadway performance. Her son tore open the wrapping to reveal the newest gaming console. A $500 one. Her daughter unboxed a designer handbag worth at least $300. They squealed, hugged my father dramatically, and posed for pictures while the room applauded like they were celebrities. Then it was Lily's turn. My granddaughter's moment, my father announced, rolling out a cart stacked with gold-wrapped boxes tied with perfect white ribbons. They looked extravagant, like something out of a luxury holiday ad. He even smiled, as if he had done something heartfelt. Lily's hand slipped into mine. She was nervous. She had learned far too young that her grandfather's kindness often hid sharp edges. But as she stared at those sparkling boxes, hope flickered in her eyes. And I didn't take that from her. Not yet. She opened the first box carefully. Inside was an empty pizza box. Clean logo on top, completely empty. She blinked. Maybe there's something underneath? She whispered. Keep going, my father said, grinning. There's more. She opened the second box. Empty plastic pasta containers. The takeout kind, washed but obviously used. The third box? Empty bread baskets and crusty sauce cups with dried stains along the edges. Soft laughter rippled through the room before anyone even explained the joke. Lily's confusion darkened into something heavier. Something that no child should feel on their birthday. That horrible moment when a child realizes they are the punchline. It's a joke, sweetie, my father said loudly, proud of himself. You need to practice being hungry. The room erupted in laughter. Poor kids stay hungry, right? He continued. Your mom can't afford to feed you properly on her tiny little salary, so I figured I'd help you get used to it. My uncle nearly spit out his wine from laughing. A cousin slapped the table. Denise giggled into her hand. Lily's eyes filled with tears. She stared at the empty containers, surrounded by adults laughing at her pain. I don't understand, she whispered. Your mom made choices, my father said, basking in the attention. She walked away from the family and decided she could survive on her own. Proud. Stubborn. And now look, struggling in that tiny apartment. When you come from nothing, you stay nothing. More laughter. Someone joked about food banks. Another threw in something about welfare. I sat completely still. Quiet. Watching the scene unfold exactly the way I always knew it would. My father had spent my entire life humiliating me whenever he got the chance. I'd felt the warning in my chest the moment I walked in. But this time he didn't just hurt me. He hurt my daughter. And that was a line he couldn't erase. So I reached into my bag and pulled out a manila folder. Actually, Dad, I said, my voice calm enough to silence the nearest table. I'm glad you brought up success and money. I've been meaning to talk to you about that. He scoffed. What? You need cash now? I'm not a bank, Catherine. I met his eyes. No, I said softly. You're not a bank. The laughter died instantly. Every face in the room snapped toward us. The shift from loud joy to complete silence felt like someone had pulled the air out of the room. "You're my employee," I said calmly. "My employee." His smile collapsed. "What are you talking about?" I opened the folder in my hands and spread the documents across the table, each paper landing like a hammer. Morrison's Italian Kitchen. 5 locations across Massachusetts and Rhode Island. Annual revenue, $8 million. Accumulated debt, $600,000. Customer decline, 15% every year. Vendor contracts draining money. Bad cost management everywhere. My father's face went red. "That's private business information." "How?" I asked softly. "It's my business information." Gasps rippled around the table. "You sold 65% of Morrison's Italian Kitchen to an investment firm called Cascade Holdings 8 months ago. Remember signing those papers? Meeting the banker? Reviewing the offers?" "I took investors," he snapped desperately. "Business partners. I still run my restaurants." "You're the general manager," I corrected. "An employee. I am the owner." I slid the core documents toward him. Cascade Holdings, LLC. Owned entirely by Catherine Morrison. Transfer of 65% ownership. Signed by David Morrison. Wire transfer of $3.2 million from my company to him. His hand shook as he grabbed the papers. This can't be real." "It's very real," I said. "Your attorney completed the sale. You signed everything. You just never bothered to ask who you were selling to." Denise snatched the documents. "David, you told me you owned the restaurants." "I do," he shouted. "You own 35%, I said. "You sold the rest. Legally. On paper. And permanently." My uncle leaned forward, stunned. "Holy. David, your daughter owns your business." "I own 65% of a failing restaurant chain," I clarified. "I stepped in to save it. The board reports to me. Major decisions require my approval." I paused. "And Dad, you work for me." He looked like the ground had disappeared beneath him. I pulled out another sheet. "Here's your employment contract. $180,000 a year. Standard benefits. At-will employment." The room froze. No laughter. No whispers. Just shock. "This is still my restaurant," he whispered, voice trembling. "My name is on the door." "The trademark belongs to Cascade Holdings," I replied. "My company. The recipes, the branding, the locations, everything is owned by me." I then turned to Lily, who had been watching silently, her eyes wide. "Sweetheart," I said gently, "go with Mary and order any dessert you want. Real food. Actual food." My sister-in-law quickly guided her out. And when the door closed behind them, my voice hardened. 8 months ago, I planned to stay silent. To let you run things while I fixed the financial disaster quietly. But tonight, you gave my daughter empty food containers and told her to practice being hungry. You humiliated a child. To feel powerful. "It was a joke," he muttered. "It was cruel," I said. "Just like you've always been. You told me I'd fail when I left home at 18. You mocked my career in private equity. You never once asked about my life." I took a breath. "Well, Dad, I now manage a $200 million fund. And when your business was collapsing, I stepped in. Not for revenge. For business." His lips trembled. "You should have told me. You should have cared enough to ask," I replied. Denise stood abruptly. "David, we need to talk privately." "Sit," I said firmly. "This is a business matter. Everyone here has been bragging about your success. They deserve the truth." I opened another folder. "Let's review your performance." His face drained of color. "As general manager, your decisions have cost the company nearly $200,000 a year in unnecessary overhead and bad contracts. Customer satisfaction has dropped 15% in 3 years. 2 locations are barely surviving." He swallowed hard. "You've been evaluating my work? I'm the owner. It's my job," I said. "And here's what I found. You're good at cooking. Good at charming customers. But you're terrible at running a business." My uncle tried to intervene. "Catherine, he's your father. This is harsh." "He made my daughter cry," I said coldly. Believe me, this is professional. I could be much harsher. I closed the folder. Here's what happens next. Monday morning at 9 a.m., we have a meeting with an HR representative. You have two options. Option 1. Stay as general manager, with reduced authority and strict oversight. Option 2. Resign. Take a generous severance package. Keep your 35% as passive income. You can't fire me, he whispered. I'm the owner. I'm the majority owner, I reminded him. You are an at-will employee with documented performance issues. I absolutely can fire you. I'm being kind by offering a graceful exit. He looked shattered. This is my business, my legacy. Your legacy is 5 restaurants that were failing until I bought them. Your name may be on the door, but I own the door. I stood up. Think about your choices. Monday, 9 a.m., and I walked out. I walked out and found Lily in the main dining room with my sister-in-law, eating a piece of chocolate cake that actually had substance. Can we go home, Mom? She asked. Yes, sweetheart. And we're not coming back here for family events. In the car, Lily was quiet for several minutes before asking, Did you really buy Grandpa's restaurants? Yes. Why? Didn't anyone tell you? Because it was business, not personal, but tonight made it personal. He was cruel to you. That's not acceptable. Are you going to fire him? I'm going to give him options. What he chooses is up to him. Monday's meeting. The meeting on Monday went exactly as I expected, difficult. My father arrived with Denise, both wearing expressions of defiance. He had clearly spent the weekend convincing himself that I was bluffing. The HR representative I had hired from outside the company laid everything out calmly and professionally: performance documentation, financial analyses, and market comparisons showing other restaurant groups with far better metrics. These restaurants could be generating $10 million annually with proper management, she concluded. Right now, they're underperforming by 25%. My father tried to argue, blaming the economy, competition, changing demographics. I let him talk himself into a corner. Your choice, I finally said. Stay, but under oversight and performance requirements. I'm doing this because you've been mismanaging a business I own. The pizza boxes just made me stop avoiding the decision. He chose resignation. Pride wouldn't let him accept oversight. The severance package was generous, $100,000, and he kept his 35% ownership stake. But as a passive shareholder, he would receive dividends, but he no longer had operational authority. A new beginning. I hired a professional restaurant manager with 20 years of experience. She made immediate changes, updated the menu, improved cost controls, enhanced marketing, and trained the staff properly. 6 months later, revenue was up 30%. Customer satisfaction scores increased. 2 struggling locations became profitable. I opened a 3rd new location. My father received his first dividend check as a passive owner. $180,000 for 6 months. More than he had earned the entire previous year. He called me. The restaurants are doing well, he said. Yes. Professional management helps. I saw the new menu. It's good. Different but good. The new GM knows what she's doing. Silence. Then, I was wrong. About the empty boxes. About a lot of things. Yes, you were. Can I apologize to Lily? You can send her a letter. If she wants to see you after that, it'll be her choice. He sent the letter. Lily read it, thought about it, and decided she wanted nothing to do with him. She was old enough to make that choice. Life moves on. Denise divorced my father 14 months after the party. Turns out she married him for his status and success. When he became an employee collecting dividends instead of a powerful restaurant owner, she lost interest. My father moved into a smaller home. He lived comfortably, though not lavishly, on his severance and his dividend income. He watched from the sidelines as I expanded Morrison's Italian Kitchen to 8 locations across 3 states. His legacy became a fact. His daughter built what he couldn't maintain. 2 years later, Lily and I were at one of our new locations. A family at the next table was celebrating a birthday. The father stood to make a toast about how proud he was of his daughter. Lily watched them quietly, then looked at me. Do you think Grandpa understands now? Understands what? That the empty boxes were never about me being poor. They were about him feeling small. That's very wise. You taught me that. You showed me that when people try to make you feel small, sometimes you just show them how big you really are. I kept one of those empty pizza boxes from the party. It sits on a shelf in my office at Cascade Holdings, between a photo of Lily and a framed Forbes article about successful women in private equity. People always ask why I keep an empty pizza box in such a prominent place. I tell them, it's a reminder that empty gestures reveal more about the person giving them than the person receiving them. My father gave Lily empty boxes and told her to practice being hungry. I gave him a business structure where he practiced being humble. Both were lessons. Only one of us meant ours kindly,